Hi there, I'm Dylan. I'm a Mississippi-born U.S. Army veteran, and at the age of 29, I was diagnosed with a rare early-onset dementia. So, I left my job, and I'm traveling around the country meeting people and creating memories while I can. So hit subscribe and join me on my journey.
Welcome to the evening edition, ladies and gentlemen, of Dylan Does America, sporting the jersey. I feel so honored to be part of this. I think it was Rebecca that sent this to me, right? I think it was Rebecca, right? Is that who it
Yeah,
was,
so
Dylan?
that's my sister's mother-in-law.
Oh, he's your sister's mother-in-law. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, guys, welcome to Dylan Does America. I'm your host, Dan, and I am joined today with my two buddies here. We got Dylan, star of the show, and we got Dave. How's it going, guys?
What's going on? It's really good to be here. I'm actually here as in home at the moment. I'm here with Dave in New Hampshire. So it's good to be kind of relaxing, kind of getting ready for my next go.
That is fantastic, buddy. Oh, that is so good. reach out and touch somebody. It's good to have you home. Oh yeah. We were doing this earlier, guys, but we have the cameras kind of do a cross with the technology. So Dylan, pick us up where we left off. So last time we were doing a recap of the Badlands. That you landed in Niagara Falls, and then you were heading home. So how was the adventure heading back?
Yeah, so the last we kind of updated, I was actually at Niagara Falls, but I hadn't checked it out yet. So the next morning, well, that night, I went and saw the fireworks at Niagara Falls, and it was incredible. So they do like a light show and everything. It's really cool. And so then I did the Maid of the Mist in the morning, and it was quite chilly. It was, I mean, everyone's kind of smiling through their pain, I think, but it was quite cold. It was like low 50s, and you're just soaked the whole time. And so then here, this is like the Cave of the Winds or something like that. And you actually you're walking down like feeling the waterfall just blasting right below you. It was just nuts. That's a lot of what we call in the outdoor industry. That's type 2 fun. It was kind of it was so miserably awesome that it was incredible. And so that was a lot of fun. It was neat. Like, everyone's kind of walking down. You're not really sure if they're enjoying it. And then when you walk back up, everyone's just grinning ear to ear, just because they're soaked and they're freezing. But they just kind of got to feel something incredible.
That is really cool. Type 2 or level 2. I like that.
Type 2 fun.
Yeah, type 2 fun. The kind you're going to need a ShamWow for. It's pretty good. That's awesome. So you made it back to New Hampshire, and you're settled.
Yeah, so I pretty much left from there, and then I went to a hot air balloon festival. It was in the Adirondacks. I think it was called the Adirondack. It was in upstate New York. It was a hot air balloon festival. I actually went there with a friend of mine, a former coworker from like 10 or 11 years ago, back from working in Mount Rushmore at the KOA. So it was just kind of neat. So Joy kind of invited me out for that. It was just kind of a last minute thing. It kind of just worked out. And so, yeah, so I got home, kind of been relaxing here, kind of hanging out with Dave. And then we went camping. So we went camping with Brian. And so Brian's our special guest tonight.
This guy right here?
Whoa, who's this?
Yeah. What's up, Brian?
Gentlemen, hello. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the YouTube live broadcast of Dylan Does America. Dan, Dave, and especially Dylan, thank you so much for having me on.
So proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Frechette joins us. This was the troika that went camping, and there's I understand it. There's some pretty great history, here, especially between you, Dylan, and Brian, as both veterans. And I want to start by saying thank you very much both for your service to this country. Dylan, why don't you get into it a little bit and talk about tell us about Brian. What's
Yeah, absolutely. So me and Brian met, I guess 2 or 3 years ago now. And so it was when I just started working for the nonprofit. I was working at VNOC, Veterans Northeast Outreach Center in Haverhill. It was my first job in the area that wasn't with the Park Service. And so when I first got there, I got to kind of reach out, and I was part of the hiring team. And so Brian was one of the first people that we brought on. and it was kind of this weird situation where it was right when COVID was starting, and then we were kind of both the new people at the place. And yeah, it just kind of worked out that we both, neither one of us really knew each other, so we kind of spent most of our work days like kind of communicating back and forth, waiting for instruction, and that kind of allowed us kind of the freedom to kind of build a really good relationship. And so a lot of what we were doing was we ended up being case managers for this VA grant that was providing like kind of housing assistance for homeless veterans, and then preventing homelessness in other veterans. And so Brian's actually still doing that. And that was kind of the same job that I was doing up until June. But yeah, so Brian's kind of still really plugged in. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I kind of just kept going.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, Brian, tell us more about you. So you're working with veterans. Thanks for doing that, man. That's awesome. What does that look like? What's your day-to-day look like? And what was it like working with Dylan back then?
Yeah, I want to start first because Dylan mentioned, he was part of the interviewing team. And so I was actually working insurance at the time. Then, obviously I applied at the company that Dylan was working for in Massachusetts. And if you look at Dylan now, he's got beautiful, lovely locks behind him. But when Dylan interviewed me, he had a high and tight fade, a proper haircut. It's just collared shirt and everything. Just you look at him now, it's very different. I mean that in a good way, Dylan, by the way. But sorry, I'm gonna go back to the question. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm still continuing the lovely work that I was doing when I met Dylan. He was doing the same. I'm helping veterans, and it's a pleasure to help the veterans of this country, the men and women that have served this country. So I'm just assisting them and preventing them from becoming homeless, or I'm trying to get them out of being homeless and helping them get housed. So that's currently what I'm still doing, except now I'm in New Hampshire, relocated. Different company, same job. So
that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now,
and I will say, there are a lot of programs and a lot of resources that are available, and a lot of times underutilized. And so that's just kind of one of those things. So Brian, can you go in a little bit more about just like the veterans like crisis line, or like just kind of like the national kind of registry, just to like if they need some assistance?
Yeah, so it's actually very simple to say that each state has its own crisis line as far as, if you're in a housing crisis, and it's simple, 211. For instance, in the state of New Hampshire, you just dial 211, hit option 3. You're going to get to, the veterans crisis line, and you just got to leave a voicemail, let them know what you're going through, and they're going to get to you ASAP, less than 24 hours or sooner, and they're going to make sure that they point you in the right direction as far as whatever service you need. It could be housing. It could be even finding a job, it could be both. It's just really, you just got to explain your situation, and you're always going to be pointed in the right direction based on what you're going through.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of like sometimes you're not sure like what to do if you don't have like exactly what you're looking for. So it's nice that there's these kind of resource kind of gathering, I guess, other resources. But and so actually, so kind of on that kind of veterans crisis line, I've personally used it, especially during like kind of 2016, 2017. It was kind of my darkest time, I guess you could say. I was coming back from my last deployment. I was kind of dealing with my hip injury and just really kind of just depressed, and just kind of got into to my darkest place. And so yeah, I definitely I know 2 instances where I reached out and was really kind of talked down, kind of from the ledge in a way. And so yeah, it's a resource that it should be used and utilized. I've met a few people kind of working through the VA that are kind of doing the work, and it's kind of they need a better way of kind of marketing it, and kind of making it known and aware. And so, if anything, we're kind of helping with that. So, yeah, I just especially with Veterans Day coming up. Veterans Day is kind of one of those days that's kind of like Memorial Day in a way. Like, you kind of, for me, like I kind of really miss like the kind of the camaraderie that was once felt and that's not really a relationship that you can replace. And so I've kind of molded all my other relationships in my life to kind of fit that, but it's not the same. And so it's kind of like, and there's a lot of that. I think that that's a lot of what the veteran community is interested in and needing, is just a sense of community and kind of coming together. There's just a lot. There's enough division kind of going on everywhere. It'd just be nice to kind of figure out ways to bring more people together. And I think that by kind of making some of these issues more kind of relatable can help with that.
Yeah, I got to be honest, Dylan. One of the things, and I'll even pull Dave back up on the screen here. One of the things that I really appreciate about the platform that you have here too is that you're bringing these issues, and making people aware of them, and that's a really big part of it. It's you think about people who haven't served, non-veterans, like myself. You don't realize what it is until you hear it and understand the impact of what veterans go through, and the unique struggles and challenges that they have. So it's really great to know that these resources exist and that we just promote it. That's what we have to do is continue driving them. And you hear about like hiring programs and things like organizations helping to place veterans, but it's so good to know that there are resources that are marketed to veterans to make that happen for them. So thank you. That's awesome. What's really cool about this dynamic too, not to kind of change the subject, is that I think the way that this worked out, it was Dave and Brian knew each other, and then we met Dylan through Brian and Dave. So it's like this trifecta. So it's pretty cool.
But honestly, I'm super grateful. I'm super grateful that Brian was discontent at his last job when he was. It's just kind of the timing worked out.
It's fantastic.
We won't say the company name of that last job too. We'll keep it discreet. But yes, I was very discontent, and thank you, Dylan, for hiring me. By the way.
Yeah, no, it was great. You were a pleasure to work with. Brian's just like one of these people that just like he's always smiling. It's always like bringing like just joy to the situation. And I value that. I'll tell you to you now. I guess to you with YouTube and the world listening.
So can I interject? So I would say, Brian, as the person who's known Dylan the longest, what do you think of Dylan's journey now? I mean, you knew Dylan when he was a case manager. Now he's going on this journey. What strikes you as the most impactful thing to you?
What strikes me as the most impactful thing is that, knowing Dylan's history, where he's come from. And Dylan, I'm going to say this. I don't know if people listening know this. So if I'm not, if you didn't want me to say this, I'm sorry. But, Dylan from Mississippi finds his way up north with the Yankees. I found out he's a bull rider. He was an Army veteran, served his country. Then he's helping the people who also serve their country. And then Dylan's hit, with this thing in his life, is some would say as a huge, barrier. And Dylan's like, no, how can I get over this barrier? So what strikes me is that Dylan then, goes on this unique journey. I mean, you saw the videos that was posted, then that's just a small sample size, but you're at Niagara Falls, Dylan. I mean, when I see that, I go, oh, wow, that's like the Office episode when, Jim and Pam got married. And I was always like, wow, that's beautiful. Then I see you, Dylan, just like getting splashed on. And it's like, you got hit with this thing and here you are enjoying Niagara Falls. So I think what strikes me is Dylan is just it seems like nothing can faze you. Like whatever life throws at you, you're like, yeah, watch this. And so you're not afraid, And if there's anyone that I would want as a battle buddy, as they say in the Army, I'm a Navy veteran, by the way. Liberty buddies in the Navy, because we're not going to battle. I would definitely ask you to be my battle buddy.
Well,
all right,
that means a lot.
That's it. That's all I'm gonna say is nice things to Dylan. I won't say too much.
Yeah, we'll have some mean things later. I appreciate it, Brian. No, that's it's just really nice to kind of like hear it, I guess. But I mean, I do try to just try to keep going. I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but for me, it's when I kind of get if I get still and in a bad thing going on in a bad place, if I just sit in it, it just gets worse and worse. And so for me, I just got to keep trucking. I got to keep moving. yeah, I just got to keep going. I'm going to keep going till I can't, kind of thing.
It's admirable, Dylan. I mean, what you do and how you push through it. I mean, I would be six pints of Haagen-Dazs every single day. I think that would be me. But you push through. You push through, and you're making a journey out of it. And it's like Brian said. I'm over here like applauding on mute, like as everything's Brian's saying. Well said, Brian. That was awesome. Well said.
Yeah, it was.
That's fantastic.
And so kind of going into what's coming up. Me and Dave, kind of the next live will probably be me and Dave together in Frederick, Maryland. Dave's going for some work, and I'm going to go for some play. So kind of get to utilize a free hotel room while Dave's there for some training. So
That's awesome.
it'll be a good gig.
That
I'm excited to kind of be around some of my West Virginia and DC area people. So I see that like Diana, she's commented, and so I'll be seeing you soon.
Very nice. Speaking of comments, Dave, do you have any? Dave's monitoring the chat. Any shout outs? Any comments you want to sound off?
Oh yeah, I mean Heather and Todd were here pretty early and giving you some support, Dylan.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw your sister was in here as well. Yeah, you got a lot of support from all over the country.
Nice.
Wherever you're at, Dylan, you're getting it. So.
Nice. Well, speaking of Todd, so we'll try to get something linked up with Todd coming up. He wants to kind of do kind of a linked up kind of reunion for Delta State in a way. So there'll be another episode to do down the road.
Todd says to get a haircut.
I'm gonna let Zoe give me a haircut, Todd.
Todd, we don't agree with you. Todd, we do not agree with you. I want you to know.
Well, what you guys don't know is Zoe like just buzzed Todd's hair like all the way the other day.
Oh wow. Okay, the tight cut. I get it.
No, I wasn't quite that much.
Well, hey, you know what we'll do a shameless plug. Wow, should we do a shameless plug?
Oh boy.
Speaking of support, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had a chance, check out the DylanDoesAmerica.com website. Dylan posts the original broadcast video when the journey began. And this is where you can also find links to subscribe on YouTube, to follow the video journeys in addition to the live broadcasts that you see here. You can learn more about Dylan, read his bio. Bio's all here, and also about his military service posted here. Ways to contact him and ways to support if you are so inclined. So that's what we got there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to turn it back over to our host with the most, Dylan Sims.
Thanks, Dan. I just want to say thanks, everybody. I'm really enjoying this journey so far. I was even my therapist was even like, I'm just so grateful that you're kind of getting to do this, and she was just kind of telling me how great it seems that it has been for my mental health kind of through all this, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing. Thanks for like just all the encouragement that I get from pretty much everyone that I've encountered. It's just been incredible. So I certainly appreciate all encouragement and support. And I do plan on working on the blog. I'm going to try to start making some posts on that. I'm just not as good of a writer as I once was. So I'm trying to get kind of in the hang of it. But I have been kind of dabbling with some video editing. So I'm going to be working on some like posting some different confessionals and just kind of some kind of more raw footage from throughout the journey. So kind of stay tuned. Check out the YouTube channel. Of course, I'll share on all the social media platforms that I have.
I think
I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
We give a big shout out to our first guest here.
Yeah,
Brian Frechette, buddy.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank
Brian.
Dylan, Dan, Dave, thanks for having me. It really is, Dylan, it's a pleasure to be, just a small part of like this Dylan Does America. And, it's a great pleasure to be a big part of your life, so I'm pleasure to meet you, and everyone keep following. Dylan's you just got a small sample size of Dylan Does America. There's much more to come. So
thanks, Brian.
That's awesome. All right, Dylan, tell them what they got to do. What does everyone got to do? They got to slow down and soak it in.
Hi there, I'm Dylan. I'm a Mississippi-born U.S. Army veteran, and at the age of 29, I was diagnosed with a rare early onset dementia. So, I left my job, and I'm traveling around the country meeting people and creating memories while I can. So hit subscribe and join me on my journey.